Hey guys, LevelCap here. Today I'm going to be reviewing 3 ambidextrous gaming mice. Now these gaming mice are excellent for first-person shooters, and I've been working with the Wirecutter. In fact, the Wirecutter did a lot of preliminary research, and we've been going over quite a few mice to try and determine what is the best gaming mouse. And in our research, we've come up with 3 of the most popular ambidextrous mice. The first one we're going to look at is the Razer Taipan. This is an extremely popular gaming mouse. I see it at all the gaming conventions. It was on all the computers at E3. When I went to EALA to play Battlefield 4 recently, they had Razer Taipans there. I see it all over the place. Now, it's an ambidextrous mouse. It's got 2 thumb buttons on either side. The mouse has a nice low profile, so it allows you to get a nice claw grip on there, or a hybrid grip. This basically is a grip where your fingers are a little bit more arched back, and it allows you to have better reflex time. Now, you can effectively try and initiate this grip on any mouse out there, but there's just some form factors of different mice that don't really facilitate this grip style as well. The Taipan does extremely well. Personally, when I'm looking for an ideal gaming mouse, I'm looking for something that's going to be extremely lightweight and glide over a low resistance mouse pad very well. This allows me to have extremely fast reaction times and not have any sort of resistance, so it's not going to hinder me in any sort of small precision aiming movements. The Taipan is very lightweight. I like it for that. I think it's something that a lot of mouse and peripheral companies are starting to realize, that first-person shooter gamers want their lightweight mice and they want low resistance mouse pads. Another thing that you should be looking for in a good first-person shooter mouse is low click pressure for left and right clicking, and low click distance. That's something, again, that the Taipan does very well. If you want to spam fire your pistol as fast as possible, you want the pressure of the click to be as least as possible, and you want the distance to be as least as possible. This will really allow you to not get fatigued when you're using a semi-auto weapon. Another great thing about this mouse is it comes with Razer drivers. I think Razer makes some of the best mice drivers on the market right now. Basically, they've combined all of their peripherals into one driver program, and it has cloud storage for your settings if you want to back up your mouse or keyboard or headset or whatever settings online. And what's cool is if you get a new Razer product, you just plug it into your computer, the program identifies it, downloads the latest drivers for it, and you're good to go. It's all kind of automated once you have the Razer stuff installed. On top of that, it's very easy to use and very powerful. You can do macros, you can set all your custom DPI settings, anything you want to do on there. You have quick, easy access to it, and the interface makes a lot of sense. Now, one of the unfortunate drawbacks of the Taipan is the thumb button placement. I feel that the thumb buttons are a little bit too far forward for me personally on the left side, so it's a little bit awkward to reach them, and I use thumb buttons all the time for weapon switching. And then on the right side, since it's an ambidextrous mouse, it has thumb buttons on the right side. I generally disable those in case I click them by accident, but on the Taipan, I'm always clicking the right side buttons on accident, which kind of messes with your grip and throws you off a little bit for precision. Now, you can see from my gameplay here, I was still able to kill people plenty well, but at the same time, it was just an annoying little feature of the thumb placement. Next up on the list is the SteelSeries Sensei. Now, this is a very popular mouse. It's got a lot of marketing from pro gamers. It's got the MLG edition, and it looks very attractive. When I first saw it, I was kind of like, ooh, shiny. I'm attracted to shiny objects. When you take it out of the box, it's an impressive looking mouse without a doubt. If you don't like the shiny aspect to it, it does come in other matte colors, and you can get something a little bit more contemporary looking. Now, I did have a few issues with this mouse, and I want to talk about the good things before we get into the trouble areas. One of the awesome things about it, we've already talked about the look, how good looking of a mouse it is. It's also got a great weight to it. Very, very lightweight, which I think is absolutely key. It glides across the mouse pad effortlessly. So that's perfect in terms of what you want for an FPS gaming mouse or a quick reaction mouse. Now, the grip is something that's a very personal preference, and I've tested a lot of mice in the past several months, like many top rated mice, lots of different designs, and I have to say, at first the grip of the Sensei feels good. After a few hours of gaming with it, I found my hand was unusually fatigued, and I'll game for like 8 hours at a time with other mice and be just fine. There was something about the grip of this mouse that really, I think, worked my hand a little bit harder than other mice. On top of that, the thumb placement at first feels amazing, but there's just something about it when you try and hit those thumb buttons, you lose a little bit of your grip traction, which I felt was affecting my accuracy. So I use my thumb buttons for switching guns, sometimes throwing grenades, and if you're trying to hit those buttons and maintain accuracy at the same time, it can be a little bit tricky, and I felt like it was affecting my gameplay. On the plus side, I didn't really have the issue with hitting the pinky buttons quite so much as I did on the Taipan. Now, because I was getting into the very nitty-gritty aspects of this, I had to dock the mouse a little bit for having a scroll wheel that was a little bit too stiff. Personally, I like a scroll wheel that I can just flick. It's personal preference, but there's also a benefit to just having low resistance on click pressures, scroll pressures, that sort of thing, to allow you to just be a little bit faster. And I felt that the Sensei just had unrealistically high scroll pressure and click pressure that I think is going to slow the average gamer down mid-combat. Now, one of the things touted by the Sensei is built-in memory. That little LED screen on the bottom of the mouse, you can actually scroll through that by using various clicking combinations on the mouse itself, and it'll allow you to save mouse settings on the mouse, so you can take it to a friend's house, plug it in, you'll still have saved macros, saved sensitivity settings, that kind of thing, which is a very cool feature. The downside is that the drivers for this mouse and the stability of it are just abysmal. I tested over 10 mice in the last several months, and I have to say, without a doubt, the SteelSeries Sensei had the worst drivers out of them all. Not only do they look visually awkward to navigate through, the menus are just set up weirdly and you have to scroll down a lot to try and get to settings. You do have a crap load of settings to access, which I guess is good for the tweakers out there, but the stability of the drivers is just ridiculous. I literally had the SteelSeries Sensei blue screen my computer, and I wasn't sure at first if it was the mouse doing it, and I kept testing it, researching it, putting it on different computers. Sure enough, it would blue screen other computers, and I had to look online and found other people having the same issue. Kind of mind-blowing that a mouse can actually mess up your computer that bad, but I had to dock the Sensei major points for having such bad drivers. Now, last on the list, and certainly not least, is the Mionix Avior. Now, I've never even tried one of these brand mouse before. Mionix is a company that I know a lot of people like, but I had just never gotten around to trying one of their mice. This is their Ambidextrous one. And I gotta say, the actual form of it, despite it looking pretty contemporary, pretty much like a lot of other mice out there, was incredibly nice. I didn't have the thumb button issue that I seem to have with the Taipan, and even at times with the Sensei. This one I never had once. There's a little sort of groove below the thumb buttons, which allows your pinky and ring finger to sit in an area where they're not going to accidentally hit those buttons and still allow you to maintain a really nice grip. Claw grip, hybrid grip, was very comfortable with this mouse. I didn't feel my hand getting fatigued at any point. Now, something I didn't mention with the other mice is the coating of the mouse, the actual texture of the mouse. It wasn't really worth mentioning with the Taipan or the Sensei, although the Sensei was a bit stickier than the other mice because of its chrome surface. A little bit less comfortable to use for long periods of time, but the Mionix uses some sort of I don't know, it's got to be some sort of rubber plastic coating in there. It's very comfortable to use for extended periods of time. The mouse is extremely lightweight. It glides over the mouse surface perfectly. It's also got very low left and right click pressure and click distance. So this allows you to spam the click very quickly and without expending much effort. So your fingers don't get fatigued. And I know you're thinking like, oh, gaming fatigue. Yeah, right. Well, if you're playing for hours and you gotta spam fire left click or right click for semi-automatic weapons, your hands will get tired. I don't care how much you game. Your fingers will simply just get tired, fatigued, and you will play worse. That simply isn't an issue with the Avior, and the one thing that I found to be a small issue was that, again, the scroll wheel, for me personally, I like to have it be a very low resistance scroll. It's a little bit higher resistance than I prefer, but when it comes to ambidextrous gaming mice, I honestly think that this is one of the best ones on the market. The ergonomics of it are just unbeatable. You know, trying to design a mouse that can switch between left and right hand users and still be very comfortable and very usable is not an easy task, and I think Mionix has done it better than any other company out there. Now, again, we're looking at ambidextrous mice here, and I have to say that grip preference is a big issue when it comes to what you're going to enjoy from a mouse. So I've given you the factual information there, but when it comes to actual grip, your hand could be larger than mine, smaller than mine. You might just prefer to hold your mouse differently. So that's something that you have to take into account with these reviews here, and I would recommend to anybody out there looking for a new gaming mouse is to go to a store and try them out, or buy the mouse and make sure that you have the ability to return it. You definitely want to spend some time gaming with it, not just in the store and surfing the web or whatever, because you'll find a lot of larger mice with more palm grip designs will feel very comfortable to you when you try them in the stores. But when you actually get them into gaming, you're going to have this more relaxed grip. You're not going to be able to click as fast, and all of a sudden you're going to realize that, hey, you don't have the right mouse, or maybe you'll just stick by your choice and you'll be using a bad mouse for a long time, not actually realizing what something else with a different form factor could do to your gaming potential. So if you're interested in finding out more technical information about these mice, or perhaps purchasing one of them, the links are in the video description. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap signing off.